Hello everybody, my name is Brendan Ware, and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. The topic of this video is going to be texting. And yes, those are the skills of someone who just learned how to use Adobe Premiere. For this video, I wanted to try and put some thought into the most popular way that we communicate today. I've done some interviews with my friends to hear what they had to say about texting, and hopefully by the end of it we can learn something. Texting.
Yeah.
That is what this video is about. That is why I've interviewed you. We have Autumn. She is here to represent teenage girls. Teenage girls stereotypically are the biggest texters. Very simple question to start. How often do you text?
Every day.
Every day?
Yes.
Now, do you like texting?
Yes. I do not like phone calls.
Oh, okay, so you don't like phone calls. What about FaceTime?
I can handle FaceTime because I can see the person's face, but I usually can't do it for more than 20 minutes.
Okay, why?
I get bored.
Do you think texting should be used for like quick information or long form conversation?
That depends. Are you having a casual conversation or do you have a story to tell? Because if you're trying to spill the tea, then you FaceTime, spill the tea, then you go back to texting.
Okay, so anything longer or serious should be done verbally and not ever text.
In my opinion, yes.
Okay, why is that?
It's a lot to type.
Do you feel that you act differently over text versus in person?
Depends on who I'm texting.
Oh yeah?
Very
What about when you're texting me?
I'm very more sarcastic because I know you can handle it.
But is that over text or in person?
Over text. In person, you just tend to make me smile a lot, so I don't have the chance to be sarcastic.
My ego needed that today. Next question. Do you ever stop and think about how you act different when you text?
Only when I'm texting a boy.
Only when you're, okay.
Or a person of interest, because lately, more than boys. But that's besides the point.
Have you ever caught yourself being untrue to yourself while texting?
Again, while texting a boy.
And potentially girls at this point.
Well, yeah, that too. Texting people of interest. I'm definitely a lot bolder than how I would ever be in person.
Okay.
I tend to say and do things that I would not do in person.
Do you have any final thoughts on texting? Anything you'd like to say about it? Any concerns you have about it? Any things you love about it?
Texting wise.
I'd like to add, I think she was texting during this interview. That is how much she likes it. She was texting during the texting interview. This has been Autumn's take on texting. So everybody, next up we have my buddy Kyle. Kyle and I were friends in high school and have been slowly reconnecting during the current events. I consider Kyle my conventionally attractive friend. Long hair, a little bit of scruff under the chin, definitely vapes. The point is, he gets more pussy than me. That's the point of having him on, is we're going to hear about his experiences with texting, probably more in the realm of texting women, to figure out if I'm doing anything wrong or maybe I'm just ugly.
Or the lack thereof.
Yes. So first question, because the topic is texting, and texting is a form of communication. So very simply, how often do you text? And then consider any type of messaging.
I mean, like every 5 minutes.
You like texting?
To be honest, I really don't have a choice but to like it. Nobody really likes to do anything else, so you kind of just have to adapt.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to say that I love it just because it kind of gives people the opportunity to choose whether or not they hear you.
Right. So that's something that's come up a lot is the idea of if you do not respond to a text, is it ignoring someone?
The problem is that like if they blatantly ignore you over text, you don't necessarily know that unless they have read receipts on.
Have you ever turned your read receipts on just to intentionally leave people on read?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like I do it, so I'll leave them on for like the first 2 or 3 texts that somebody sends me. And then if I don't reply, then I will turn them on and then let them know, like, yes, I have been blatantly ignoring you. Stop talking to me.
Have you ever thought about just texting them back to not talk to you?
You could, but people don't listen.
Right.
People they're like, trust me, especially with the fact that like, with me being into like TikTok and stuff like that, like these girls get crazy. So
Follow Kyle on TikTok. I'm going to put it right there. There'll be a link in the description.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Do you feel that you act differently over text?
That's kind of hard because I actually make an attempt not to.
Okay.
I do try to act a little bit differently, a little bit more confident over texting because I want to compensate for the fact that I can't show it over text. I try to compensate for what they're not going to be able to see on text so that when they do meet me in person, my personality kind of like backs that. See, they're going to be like, I could see why he would be like that.
I got to say, I was worried about a lot of these interviews where I come across as arrogant and douchey, but I'm really glad you're here to now I'm the reasonable one.
Yeah, right? No, I know I come off douchey. That's okay.
It's fine. That's actually what you're here. That's what you're here to represent.
I used to be a douchebag, but now I'm kind of battling that and just working on being confident.
Kyle, recovered douchebag. Still functional alcoholic.
Bringing my vodka. Vodka. All right. Yeah, I will give one base piece of advice to people. Things to talk about and things not to talk about when you're texting. Yeah. Casual conversation, okay. Now, when you're upset about something, make sure you never respond before you've thought about it for at least 2 to 3 minutes.
That actually brings me up a point that I was thinking about. When you text somebody, there's a lot higher chance that they are not in a good mood from what I've found. So, say you normally spend time with somebody where the baseline is usually pretty positive. You're going out with friends. The energy is already positive. Where if I'm texting someone at a random time, there's a lot of extra things they could be dealing with that now I'm going to hit that I wouldn't normally hit when we're out.
Yep.
So I think that's can be an issue, or even for yourself. Like, I'm not in the best headspace when I'm texting a lot of times. And maybe I need to watch when I'm texting people. I need to make sure I'm in a good headspace and I'm not saying anything I shouldn't, or something I'll look back later on and think, that really was out of character for me, or something I think should, don't want to be in my character.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Also, there's a lot of truth that falls into the sad hours. Don't ever bring up something serious late at night.
Oh.
Once you've been through a full day, regardless of what you've been through, your mind is exhausted. So it easily starts to focus on the negative things right before you go to bed, or you get horny. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I always get horny at night for some reason.
Yes.
As opposed to
sad or horny.
As opposed to the morning when I'm also horny. And then that midday
when
horny.
You're also horny.
Yeah, and definitely that before dinner horny.
Oh, that before dinner horny just hits different.
Yeah, because you're also hungry at the same time. Then you become horngry, and no one's ready for that. No one's ready for that emotion. Avoid sad hours.
Yeah, avoid sad
Kyle
hours.
Messersmith, 2020.
Yeah. Avoid serious issues during sad hours. Let's redefine that.
Yes, avoid serious issues during sad hours. Kyle Messersmith, 2020. Is there anything else that you wanted to add? Closing statements.
Yeah. This one is for the girls.
For the ladies.
This one's for the girls.
Let me for the girls, ladies don't listen.
Yeah. For the I'm just kidding. For the females, let's specify. Okay, yeah, for the females.
If you have an X and an X chromosome, tune in.
Stop leaving us on red. So I'll leave them on for like the first 2 or 3 texts that somebody sends me. If I don't reply, then I will turn them on and then let them know, like, yes, I have been blatantly ignoring you. Stop talking to me.
Well, after that full circle point, Kyle, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Appreciate the insights.
Of course.
And have a good night.
Appreciate you, man. You too.
And we have davidranlli. He is here to represent a little bit of an older demographic, the 30-plus demographic. Everybody else I've interviewed has been 18 to 23, so you're the old man of the group.
All right.
Which I think is important because you have a lot of life experience without texting, but a really good amount of your adult life was spent with texting being an option.
Oh, right. Sure.
Where everybody else I've interviewed has 100% of their adult life they've had texting, and it's been a big part of it.
Right. I had a pager, dude.
You had a pager.
Payphones.
Payphones.
Oh yeah, dude. I miss payphones. Payphones were sweet because you'd never have a quarter, so you'd have to try to hunt one down. And everybody did pay with cash back then. So credit cards were just for debt, and you did not pay with debit cards or anything. So yeah, no. Yeah, it's kind of funny to reflect on that.
You're representing age well. I like this so far.
Thanks.
You've already done it back in my day. This is great.
Back in my day, yeah.
So first question, how often do you text?
I try to text as little as humanly possible.
Why is that?
Because it's stupid. I think it's the lowest form of communication that possibly exists. It's the written language, and there's no context to basically anything except if you put a period instead of not putting a period. You know what I mean? It's it's very easy for it to be, your brain doesn't process it well in the form of a communication.
Do you feel that texting is something you can have a long conversation with, or it should be used for short information?
I have most definitely used text messaging for all sorts of communication. I'm sure everybody's had long, I don't know. I try to use it as little as possible now, but nobody teaches you how to use it. So, I've had long conversations, I've had back and forth conversations, I've had conversations that, get delayed by a week, you're just kind of continuing a conversation, but it's over a slow kind of long period of time. I don't know. I don't think is there a right way to use it?
That's why we're here. That's why we're asking these questions.
The medium is the message is a phrase by Marshall McLuhan, who was a great philosopher on communication and electronic media. And he said, basically, the conversation is you can only have a certain type of conversation depending on the context of the tool that you're using to have it. So, your conversation is influenced by the tools that you're using. So whether it's face-to-face and just your vocal cords and ears, or if it's cell phones, handwritten, sorry, the Italian in me.
It's almost a really good intellectual point, and then you just had
to
take
right?
your microphone away.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, we'll edit that in post. Do you feel that you act differently over text messages?
It represents me in the form of a text message. I don't know. Part of that takes place in the mind of the person who's reading it. You know what I mean? I can't help 100% how they perceive what I'm thinking when I'm writing it, because the medium is not communicating all the complexity of the communication. And would I have said that thing had I been face to face with them? The conversation would have been entirely different. So
have you ever noticed with certain individuals that you have a different experience with them over the phone texting versus when you see them in person?
Oh yeah, no, anything really, social media, anything, you're forming a different it's sort of like a digital ego that one is being projected on their end, and then two is being received on your end. So you form kind of a picture of who they are, you know.
Mm-hmm. Just have you ever caught yourself being unreasonable or untrue to yourself?
Yeah, I think, yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I think that now that I'm more weary of electronics, and I try to use them as little as possible, it's like I cut out a lot of the things that I use it for. I cleaned it all up, and it's there, and I have to use it, but I really don't want to use it. And who knows what the right answer is? I mean, we could just try our best with all of it. So
Great. I think that's a great sentiment to end on, unless there's anything else that you have to say on the topic.
no, I think that we should. I think that if there's anything that I've learned, whether it's from going to mass communication school to using it in my business to using it in my personal life to everything, that, like, choosing the way you want to use the stuff was not given to us outright. It's everywhere, but eventually you can learn how to use it in the way that you want. Make it work for your life.
Now it's time to talk about what I've learned from this experience. One of the first things I want to bring up is a really cool article I was reading from Science Daily that talks about how, when put under scan, texting triggers a new brain rhythm, which shows that there is a physical difference between texting and in-person communication on the brain. Something I learned from the interviews was that people seem to be aware of how different texting is than face-to-face communication and how different they act while using it. Although some of the hypocrisy seemed to go unnoticed, which makes it no different than any other thing humans do. My goal of this video was to have more dialogue about the biggest form of communication, and hopefully some of the issues that we run into can be fixed through discussion and realization that this medium that we're using is inherently flawed. But whether I learned something or not, this was a really fun experience, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Cue the elevator music.